Thank you for joining us. I'm Cynthia Izaguirre, and tonight the FBI announced a major development in the case of little 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez Alvarez from Everman in Tarrant County. After years on the run, his mother, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, has been arrested. This is a major development after she was added to the FBI's most wanted list last month. Noel's body has never been found. Two of our reporters who have covered this case extensively join me now to bring us up to speed with what happened today. Adriana de Alba and Scoop Jefferson. Adriana, we'll start with you tonight. Walk us through this big announcement today from the FBI.
Izzy, it's a major announcement. I mean, people have been waiting for this moment for nearly 3 years. It's been a while since Cindy Rodriguez-Singh vanished. So this announcement came down today from the FBI director, Kash Patel. It came down this afternoon, and he announced that there has been an arrest. Cindy Rodriguez, she has been on the top 10 most wanted fugitive list for less than 2 months. That announcement came on that she was a top 10 most wanted. That happened in July, around July 1st, and the reward for any information leading to her arrest was raised at that point. So we know that this happened out of the country. We don't have confirmation that it was in India, but the way that message read from Kash Patel, it does sound like this may have taken place in India. We know that there was deep partnership between the FBI, law enforcement in Texas, and law enforcement in India. And that is where the family had vanished. If you remember that moment when we saw the family leave from DFW airport. That was more than 2 years ago. We see Cindy Rodriguez go through security with her husband and with their 6 kids, no Noel in sight. And Izzy, at that point, that was the last time we saw her. That's the picture there. They vanished at that moment. And we know that they boarded a flight, and eventually that flight got to India. And we don't know where they've been this whole time, but they've not been seen ever since. So we know today there has been an arrest.
And I want to talk a little bit more about that arrest because as of right now, we don't know specifically where Cindy Rodriguez-Singh is, correct? We don't know if she is still in India, if she has been brought back to the United States, if she's on her way back, correct?
That's right. We don't know. We know that she will be brought back and she will be prosecuted in Texas. But at this point, we don't know if she's on U.S. soil. We don't know if she's going to board a flight to come back or if she's in India. So her whereabouts at this point unknown. The FBI pretty tight-lipped about this operation at this point. We just know that she is now in FBI custody and will be brought back to the U.S. for prosecution.
And the minute we got this information, Adriana, I called the Department of Family and Protective Services, the Director of Media Relations out of Austin, Marissa Gonzalez, and she did issue a statement. She said that DFPS has been in close contact with the FBI about what comes next for Ms. Singh's children. We don't have any additional details to release at this time, but sources within DFPS do tell me that per DFPS protocol, when and if there is a court order, the 6 surviving children will enter foster care when they return to Texas. I want to go back to little Noel because the Rodriguez family did have a prior history with CPS, which is why Noel had a foster mom, and you got reaction from that foster mom today.
I did. And let's keep in mind that Noel has other siblings in the U.S. right now that were no longer in Cindy's custody. So I won't speak about where they are due to privacy. So we want to respect their privacy. But we do know that at one point, Noel was in a foster home for a little over a year. And this family, they loved him deeply. They spent holidays together. They said he was a sweet little boy. At one point, police did put out that they learned Noel's mother had described him as monstrous and problematic. But I've talked with that foster mom, and they loved Noel. He was a part of their family, and they've been broken ever since they found out that he disappeared. They want answers and they want justice for this little boy. So I did talk with his foster mom just as soon as we found out. She was home, and she picked up the phone, and she just was screaming. I mean, she just was elated. Her words were 2 years. 2 years I've been waiting, and hoping that there would be an arrest and that this would hopefully lead to some justice for Noel. Her birthday just passed. His foster mom's birthday was just yesterday, and she said that this was probably the best gift that she could get, is knowing that this gets them one step closer to hopefully some justice for little Noel.
Absolutely. That is the best birthday gift she could get. Again, wondering what would be of little Noel, whose body has never been found, presumed dead. Police believe Noel was last seen in Everman back in 2022 while in his mother's custody. Our Scoop Jefferson, who's standing by, you have been covering this case extensively. You've been in close contact with police in this case. Can you give us some background on the case and on the extensive search for Noel?
Absolutely. So this all came to light when family reported that they had not seen Noel in 2022. And so when police started inquiring about it, they had to go back and figure out, had he been missing his doctor's appointments. And when they asked his mother about him, she told him that he was with his father in Mexico. Well, they investigated that, and then they found out that that was not true. So Cindy, along with her husband and some of the other children, did live with an elderly man in Everman. They were actually renting a shed in his backyard, and so part of the investigation was basically going through the property there. They had just had a brand new patio put down. They actually dug up part of that patio, as you can see in the video there, trying to find signs of Noel, because at that point they did not believe he was no longer alive. I did have a sit-down interview with the elderly man that they lived with. He considered himself as Noel's grandfather. He loved Noel. He shared pictures of him and Noel, and he was truly heartbroken. He had no answers as to where Noel's whereabouts, and told me that he didn't understand why his mother would leave the country. And he even said that he asked her about his whereabouts. The home that they were living in, I did go inside the home that they were living in behind his house. It was a sight to see. It was a big mess. And there you're looking at video where they actually dug up part of that patio. They did not find anything. They were looking for any signs of his remains. They brought in cadaver dogs. They also teamed up with local search teams that searched Everman, searched wooded areas. They had more than 300 tips come in saying, check here and check there. And actually, the police chief and his team, they actually checked out every single tip. Unfortunately, did not find Noel nor his remains. They did announce throughout the investigation that they had to basically change the investigation from what they call a search to a recovery, because again, they did not believe he was alive any longer. A story that touched a lot of people in Everman and outside of Everman as well.
Yes,
Izzy?
we had all been hoping and waiting for this news that the mother who has been accused of capital murder would be brought to justice. You know, Scoop, I want to go back and talk about the elderly man who rented space to the Rodriguez family and how he had called himself Noel's grandfather. Since he was close enough to call himself a grandfather to this child, when you spoke to him, did he ever give you any indication that the mom or the dad could do something like this, of what they're being accused of doing?
really caught him by surprise. He did say there were times when they disciplined Noel different than the other children. Sometimes she withheld food from him to punish him. But he never thought that anything like this would happen as far as him coming up missing. Unfortunately, I tried to reach back out to him last year, and I did learn from the Everman Police Department that he passed away. And before he passed away, he wanted to see Noel again. He wanted to hold Noel in his arms, hoping that he would be found. And he even urged Cindy, through our stories to reach out and tell where Noel really was. But obviously that never happened.
And the Rodriguezes had extended family in the area. I understand, Adriana, that you had interviewed her mother in the past?
I did. I spoke with her mom at one point, and she was equally as upset as many in this community. She wanted her daughter brought back here. And at that point, she told me that she had not spoken to Cindy rather, that when Cindy vanished, that's the last she saw or heard of her too. They did not have the best relationship, and she was okay with me sharing that because she said that in our interview. She was really upset by, what her daughter was accused of doing, and she wanted Cindy brought back so that she could give answers as to where this little boy is. And same thing with the former police chief, Craig Spencer. He's a city manager now at Everman. I mean, they put hours in there in that department, spent hours on this case, just trying to get answers and really digging to bring justice to this case. But the big question and the big missing piece of this puzzle is Cindy being back in the States. And that's what the chief has said all along, is that he needed to get her back to the States because that was the only hope that they had, if any, now in getting answers, is hoping that she would give them some answers as to where he is and maybe confess and just tell them what happened. Because at that point, police in Everman ran out of leads, and just had no idea where he was. You remember our coverage. We spent weeks out there as this search went on. And so Cindy's mother and police, they've been on the same page and saying she needs to be brought back and she needs to tell us what happened. And so this arrest today, it's not the end. It's just the beginning of hopefully getting some answers. And let's not forget that Cindy's husband, Arshdeep, he is also accused of capital murder in this case. And that's the big question floating around for people on social media. I'm reading comments and people are saying, what about the husband? Well, we don't know. There was nothing in that FBI release about Arshdeep. We do know that he boarded that flight to India with the rest of the family. And that's the last we've heard of him as well. But yes, he's also charged in this case, and we'll have to see if there's an update on that front.
And the big question now is what happens next? Did the FBI give any indication when they might be able to update us again soon?
No indication. We know that Everman Police is set to put out a news release this evening. I did talk with the police chief, but this was a surprise to them too today. I was told by the chief that they did not know this was happening. So they've been in close partnership with the FBI, but they're not in the nitty-gritty day-to-day details, and they did not know that this arrest had happened. And so he found out just when we all did, is what I was told by him. The FBI, they've not put any information. They have not provided any further information on the case. We just know that they are in the process of bringing her back to the U.S. Timing-wise, what does that look like? We don't know, but she will be prosecuted in Texas.
Before we wrap, we know that this is a case that has touched that community deeply. We also know that it has touched law enforcement in Everman very deeply. What was their reaction today, both from the current and the former police chief?
Well, the current chief was the assistant chief at the time when this all unfolded, and he just said that this has touched him like no other case he's covered in his long career in law enforcement. He said this hit close to home because this is a child and this is a vulnerable human being. So this kept him up. He put in those long hours. The department worked as hard as they could, they said, until they got to the point where the FBI had to get involved. Because when she left the country, it just really complicated this case and took it to a whole nother level. The former chief, who is now the city manager, like I mentioned, he's actually on vacation today. But Craig Spencer, I wish I could connect with him, and I just know that he has been waiting for this, and he would be elated to know that this case is one step closer to hopefully justice. And
then tonight at 10, Adriana, you're working on that interview with the former foster mom?
She will not speak tonight, but we do hope to speak to her soon. She wasn't available tonight, Izzy, but we did talk on the phone. It just was, she found out when I called her, and it was just such an emotional moment. She's provided pictures and videos of little Noel in the past that we hope to share again tonight. Just what she feels for that little boy and his special spirit, I think really spread to this community, because when you see that face, everybody feels for this child, and we're all so invested. And today, I think the community feels it. Those who knew Noel, they feel it. They feel hope. I know those officers also who have been working so hard on this case, that they feel this hope too. They said they're not giving up, and this is really just, it's nearly 3 years in, but now, in a way, they're just beginning, hopefully, to try to get some answers from Cindy now.
You have also worked really hard on this case. You've spoken with law enforcement for the last 3 years. What has been their reaction?
I sat down with the former police chief, Craig Spencer, on the anniversary of Noel going missing. And he revealed then just how tough this case has been on him, because he has children too. And he actually shared that there were nights that he did not go to sleep because Noel had not been found. And he said that he would dedicate the rest of his law enforcement life to finding what happened to Noel. As you know, the entire city got behind him. There's a park named after Noel in Everman. So this is a big step. And you know, when you're a small police department like Everman, you don't have the resources to go after someone once they fled the country. Teaming up with the FBI was a very calculated best move for the Everman Police Department. And that's why we are discussing this today, because those resources that the FBI have, the reward that they were able to offer, help move this case forward and bringing Cindy, the mother of Noel, to justice.
Our thanks to you, Scoop Jefferson, Adriana de Alba, for your hard work on this case. Like Adriana said, this is just the beginning now that Cindy Rodriguez-Singh has been captured by the FBI, a story we will continue to follow both on air and online. Thank you for joining us for this special. We'll send it back to regular programming, and we'll see you tonight at 10.